Meeting, if you can please stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I'd like to have a moment of silence for the following individuals. Jonathan Williams, a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District, and Susan Gildemeyer, a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. Thank you. We have three presentations this evening. The first one is a proclamation. Throughout our school buildings, school psychologists have an impact on district's students and families. They have accepted this exceptional responsibility with commitment, dedication, and love. The student psychologists of the North Syracuse Central School District are professionals of the highest caliber and have dedicated themselves to the ideals of their profession. Students, parents, administrators, and community members recognize, applaud, and appreciate their efforts to ensure students receive quality services. To honor the school psychologists of the North Syracuse Central School District and their accomplishments, I, Michael Maurizio, President of the Board of Education of the North Syracuse Central School District, on behalf of the board, express our deepest gratitude and hereby declare November 6th, 2024 as School Psychologist Appreciation Day to be celebrated with appropriate educational activities. So do I have a motion to declare November 6th, 2024 as School Psychologist Appreciation Day? Josh and Mr. Crabtree. All those in favor? Thank you. Do we have anyone here? Yes. Okay, we have two BPT presentations this evening. The first is Roxborough Middle School. Welcome.
Yeah, okay. Good evening. My name is Heather Pellegrino. I'm the principal at Roxborough Road Middle School. Thank you so much for inviting us here tonight so that we can share with you all the exciting things that are happening at Roxborough Road Middle School. I'm joined this evening by our BPT chairperson, Trish Nelson, as well as my two associate principals, Tony Puma and Hillary Cox. And not to forget our amazing cheering section of Roxborough Road Middle School teachers.
To begin with, we wanted to give you a sense of who our Roxborough Middle School family is. We have a current total enrollment of 703 students, including 245 fifth graders, 231 sixth graders, and 227 seventh graders. Our enrollment stayed fairly stable from last year to this year with a loss of about 4 students. However, following the overall trend in the district, our enrollment has decreased by 108 students over the past 7 years. We are incredibly thankful to the board for the fact that our class sizes continue to be relatively low. Our average class size for fifth grade is 22 students, for sixth is 23, and for seventh is 23 in all core area classes. The percent of our students with disabilities increased this year by 3%, driven primarily by the increase in fifth grade. We have 2 special class programs at ROCS with a total of 18 students in them. Our 1211 program is for students with significant behavior management needs, and our 1214 class is for students with significant cognitive and adaptive challenges. Our mission and vision statements remain unchanged this year, continuing to focus on high expectations, collaboration, collective responsibilities, and appreciating our differences. At ROCS, we are highly committed to the ideals of restorative practice, and we believe that we are particularly aligned to our vision. We are especially proud to have our 5th and 6th grade students attend weekly restorative practices classes and have 2 full-time restorative practice specialists who will help our students and staff navigate the many unique challenges the middle school students and families face. You'll be hearing more about the restorative practice in a later slide.
To implement our PLC SMART goal, each collaborative teacher team will collect, compare, and analyze data on a key essential standard at least once a month, allowing for continuous assessment and targeted improvement. Quarterly, these findings will be shared during faculty meetings to promote accountability and collective progress. Using the SMART goal framework, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely, each team will set clear, attainable objectives to enhance our focus and success in meeting our educational goals. This structured approach ensures that our efforts are intentional and our progress is measurable, aligning our actions with our overarching mission. Our SMART goal to improve graduation rates focuses on reducing chronic absenteeism from 27.1% in the 23-24 school year to 25.1% in the 24-25 school year. To achieve this, we'll take key actions, including enhancing students' sense of belonging through peer mediation and restorative practices. We have 2 incredible restorative practices specialists leading these initiatives, Marina Patanzo and Ayana Richmond. Peer mediation empowers middle school students to take a leadership role in helping their peers to navigate conflict, which leads to a positive school climate. Restorative practices focus on resolving conflict, repairing harm, and healing relationships. They support a positive and safe school climate, prevent bullying, and reduce disciplinary incidents. Another action step is delivering consistent positive messaging to educate parents, students, and staff on the importance of attendance. One way that we are accomplishing this is through our positive postcard initiative, in which teachers write short positive messages to students and we send them home. This also improves communication and the school-to-home relationship. Our final action step is expanding our incentive programs and strengthening the role of point people to support these efforts, ensuring our initiatives are impactful and aligned with our attendance goals.
Shifting gears to talk about ELA, this slide summarizes some historical data regarding our ELA state test and Ames web scores. To orient you to the data a little bit, the bar graph on the left indicates the percent of our students who scored at levels 3 or 4 on the state test dating back to 2018. We also carefully monitor the percentage of our students scoring at a level 1, as is reflected on the bar graph on the right. With respect to our Ames Web scores, the green and red numbers on the bottom reflect the changes in our student scores across one full school year. So from the fall benchmark to the spring benchmark. Looking at fifth grade, for example, you can see that 43% of our students started out this year scoring in the proficient range, noted in green, and that increased to 50% by the spring. Similarly, the scores in red show us that 39% of our students started the year in the at-risk range, and that number dropped to 35% by the spring. As the building principal, the trajectory of our ELA scores are extremely concerning to me. With only a quarter of our students scoring within the proficient range on the state test and 43% scoring at a level 1, we clearly have some work to do with regards to our students' ELA skills. The next logical question, of course, is what are we going to do about this? As a department, our ELA teachers are leaning into our new ELA curriculum and using the New York State ELA standards as our guide. In addition to full department trainings, grade level representatives are attending regular trainings on the EL modules and then bringing what they learn back to the building. We're also in the process of more closely examining our state test data to identify one standard that many of our students appear to be struggling with, and then working as a department to develop some strategies to address it with regularly scheduled check-ins and share-outs at our department meetings. Preliminarily, we anticipate honing in on students' use of text evidence. We also have an action plan that is working its way through our building planning team that we hope will result in our building utilizing our daily win schedule for some focused ELA test preparation and computer-based interventions for our students.
At Roxborough Middle School, math has been a real celebration for us over the last few years. As you can see of the percent of students proficient since 2018, we are at our peak since 2018. We saw a very large rise in students that were proficient last year, and we have still continued to grow even slightly from there, all at the same time while reducing our percent of students at a level 1. This is all due to the work that our teachers are putting in during the win time and helping to identify needs of students and really honing in on those needs. If you look at our Ames Web data from the fall of 23 to the spring of 24, you can see significant increases in the percent of students that were proficient across all 3 grade levels and significant decreases in the number of students that were considered at risk. To continue to grow from our current strides in math, we have 4 strategies that we are implementing this year to keep making progress. The first strategy is utilizing data from formative assessments to guide CTT and math committee time. This is something that our math teachers have really leaned into to collect that data in all of the different grade level math CTTs. Having been able to go in and to step into all those CTTs throughout the year, they are really collecting data and de-doctrina and honing in on the skills that students need to continually develop to become proficient. Second strategy is each math CT will identify 1 to 2 focus standards that will be continually assessed on quarterly benchmarks to monitor student achievement and gap closure. All 3 grade levels have already selected their focus standards and have incorporated them into their benchmarks that they will be giving throughout the year. And we hope to see student growth on that as they continue to spiral and build upon those focus standards. The third strategy is the expanded math PD through the University of Rochester. We saw a need for our special education teachers and CTD teachers to be involved in this, as this focuses on higher level thinking and enhanced student engagement techniques through higher level questioning. Strategy 4 is the increased opportunity for enrichment and extension through MathCon and Math League. MathCon has already started up in our 7th grade this week, and students are really excelling. And if you look at some of the questions that they're already working on, it really is engaging students at a higher cognitive level and showing that math can be fun. Something new this year is our 7th grade math teachers have started including students in MathCon that wouldn't have been in the past. Some students that were just barely proficient are now being pushed in that MathCon and included in that enrichment opportunity.
Our SEL goal is to increase the number of students falling within the proficient range, the light and dark green on the Castle self-awareness competency by 2%. The BIMIS 2 assesses self-awareness through questions that explore a student's ability to recognize and understand their own emotions, thoughts, and behaviors, including items like, during the past week, I was aware of how my actions affected others. I often think about how I feel when something happens. I can usually identify when I'm feeling stressed or anxious, and I try to understand why I react the way I do. To increase the students in the proficient range on this competency, we have several strategies we're implementing, including implementing and facilitating peer mediation, increasing the use of restorative practices, providing specific self-awareness lessons, restorative practices newsletters sent to families, expanding building-wide restorative practices trainings for our staff members, our counseling staff providing skill-based lunch groups to improve student success, Borough Bridges initiative in which 7th grade students mentor the younger students at Roxborough Elementary. Together, these strategies will help to improve our students' self-awareness competencies as we move throughout the 24-25 school year.
So we wanted to close by sharing with you some of our celebrations at Roxborough. We have so much to be excited about at Roxborough. It was difficult to narrow it down to just a few to share with you. In June of last year, one of our school counselors and restorative practices specialists applied to a competitive program that is being offered through a joint effort between NICED and the Community Dispute Resolution Center to bring a peer mediation program to our school. We were one of the lucky schools chosen to participate in the program and are in the midst of rolling this exciting opportunity out to our students and our community. We're also excited that we have added another restorative practices specialist to our team to further build out a restorative approach at Roxborough. I am also excited to share that our PTG is once again a fully functioning official charity, and we have a full board of committed and engaged parents doing this important work. I think Tony already mentioned the good news about our math goals. We're also really excited about the new Lego Club opportunity for our students. In closing, I just wanted to take a moment to mention the fact that we have a lot of fabulous new faculty and staff members at Rox Middle this year, who we know will be contributing great things to our community in the years going forward. So we're kind of calling them our freshman class and really leaning into them and just enjoying everything that they are bringing to the table. Questions?
Yours are long. I probably asked this last year and forgot the answer, or maybe it changed. Who knows why I'm asking. You had a PLC slide earlier. You don't have to go back to it. I just wondered, what does that look like? I'm assuming it's grade level meetings. So just what I mean, what's it look like frequency of the meetings
Sure.
in the structure? Who's in there?
Yeah.
There'll be a follow-up.
Okay. So the whole the PLC process encompasses our entire school. So the PLC is our whole school learning together. The way that that functions on a regular basis is our teacher teams work in collaborative teacher groups that meet once every 4 days as a content area to talk about data, how their students are doing, compare how they're doing on assessments, and really kind of dive in at a deeper level and talk about strategies that they can use to improve their performance.
Said they meet by content area?
Yes, yep.
Okay. And I assume that, are you adjusting then the win groups change throughout
So
progress or no?
So when is the next piece of that where we try to roll out into that time some interventions and extensions for our students related to what their teachers are talking about and learning in their CTT time. That looks a little bit different at each grade level in our school, and it's definitely a process that's evolving. Our guiding coalition is really working hard to really make sure that that win time is data-driven, structured, and intervention-based for our students.
Thank you.
looking at the BT members, and again, I've said this before, God bless these people because they work extra and do so much for your school. I do not see a district administrator on here. We've seen them with all the elementary schools. Who represents the district office with your?
Sorry, so we are super lucky to have Dr. Leahy as our district office
maybe
rep.
we can-
It
No, I would have bet it was you. Your restorative practices, I have not been down to Roxborough this year, but I had the fortune to be in on a restorative practice circle. It's amazing. The students are allowed to bring up some really difficult topics and it's wonderful. And I'm sure that's continuing.
Yes.
This is just a concern to my board members, and I'm not doing micromanaging. Math scores are amazing because Nick Schultz is our new math director. And he's in charge of AIS 7 through 12. My concern to my fellow board members is ELA. I believe that Nick should be K through 12 AIS, and we should have an ELA person. LA scores go up if we have somebody that is in charge of that program. Thank you.
Anyone-
I just have a quick question. First of all, thank you for the presentation. You all did a nice job. So the win time that you have, that's, you base it on data. I would assume teacher input as well, because some kids are good test takers, some kids are not good test takers. So I'm sure you have teacher input on that. But one of the points is to get some small group instruction. And when you do the win time, how do you make those groups smaller? You have so many on a team. Who are the other people that come and make these groups smaller?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So we are fortunate in that, well, in some ways fortunate, and in some ways it's something that we struggle with. Included in our win time, we also have our band, chorus, and orchestra happening on a rotating basis. We also have some AIS pullouts as well as some special education pullouts. And we also have some opportunities for some enrichment in our PE classes. And so between having a large number of WIN teachers as well as those additional options throughout the day, throughout WIN time, it kind of disperses our students a little bit so that we have smaller classes actually sitting in front of teachers.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Question. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is Rockstars at both elementary and middle?
Yes,
So
it is.
Could you speak on that a little bit, on how that's been going for the middle school, and how they are maybe transitioning from the elementary going to the middle school, but staying in that program, and the benefits of that for you guys?
Sure. So that's been a great addition to the Roxborough campus in general. It's just another opportunity for some of our students to get connected to school. One of the great things that we've seen happen with that program is this year specifically, they've really focused on the first hour of it being academic in nature. So there's that connection to the school day. Teachers are able to communicate when there's something that a student needs to work on. Then they're able to help in that program with that first hour of academic instruction. And then from there, they move into enrichment activities, which the kids just love. They're all kinds of fun things, art and cooking and all those kinds of great things. So in terms of how it helps with school, it really helps with kids' connection to school. It also really helps with some of our families who the kiddos go home and they don't have anybody home when they get home. So this gives them some adults and other people that they can work with on their homework, that sort of thing. It's great all around. I could not speak to specifically how the numbers have held transitioning from elementary to middle school this year. That's something that I think Chow would have to answer. But I know that they've had some great participation this year, and I think that their numbers are pretty strong.
I would just say that most of the kids who did it last year are doing it this year. Like, that's the first thing they said is, oh, we did this last year, so we're doing it again this year. So
Anyone else? Next up, Gillette.
Good evening. Thank you for having us and allowing us to share some of what is going on at Gillette Road Middle School. I'm Sarah Jones, the building principal. I'm joined by one of our BPT members, Samantha Gaines, one of our school psychologists as well, as well as Beth Franciscotti and Sean Ackley, our associate principals at Gillette Road Middle School. We also have a little bit of a smaller cheering crew, but I'd like to acknowledge that some of our other BPT members are in the audience as well. So thank you to them for coming. As we get started, we just wanted to share a little bit about who we are at Gillette. As you know, we added a fourth grade this year, so that's been pretty exciting. We, as of today, have 1,108 students in the building. So one student is not represented up there who started today. We have 28 CTD sections. We have 3 15-to-1 classrooms, and as of today, have 41 ENL students, which is noteworthy as I'm looking at what we presented to you last fall when we had 30 ENL students. So we're up 11 students. Our fourth grade does not have an ENL program, so that is strictly our 5 through 7 Gillette Road Middle School staff. Our free and reduced lunch rate is creeping up close to the Title I numbers, and I think that it would be a little bit higher if we didn't offer free lunch and breakfast, which I'm not suggesting we don't do that. I'm just saying it prevents people sometimes from filling out the forms. So we have some teachers that are interested in helping us to get some forms out to parents and getting them to fill those out so that if they qualify, we may be able to benefit from some Title I funding in addition. We have a new Gillette Road mission statement. This is something we worked on as a BPT last year and are using for the first time this year. So at Gillette Road Middle School, our purpose is to support all students in their transition from elementary to secondary school by ensuring that our students develop the academic, social, emotional skills necessary to be successful. It was really important for us as a BPT to develop a new mission statement that was a little bit easier for staff to rally around and remember so that we can anchor all of our changes and decisions to that mission statement. Speaking of changes, we've had a lot at Gillette this year. So we started by updating our mission statement. We added our new grade level from Lakeshore Road Elementary, which has been really fun to have those students in our building. The staff is absolutely wonderful, and we're really happy to be welcoming the students and their families to Gillette Road Middle School 1 year early. In addition to adding our grade level from Lakeshore, we also welcomed the fourth grade 15-to-1 program from Smith Road. Because of that, we're really mindful about not calling our fourth graders our Lakeshore fourth graders. We really refer to them as our Gillette Road fourth graders because we have students from multiple places. We also adopted a new schedule this year, which was passed by a building vote at the end of the previous school year. And so we now have a 10-period day, and we're incorporating what we call a flex period. Flex is an acronym that stands for focused learning. No, focused learning, enrichment, and extension. Because of that, we also have a new cycle scheme. We have an A through F day, and that was to incorporate band, orchestra, and chorus. We now allow our students to participate in music groups during the school day, which we really saw as an inequity for students at Gillette Road Middle School in the previous schedule. Also, our 5th and 6th grade teachers now have collaborative team time during the day, once in that 6-day rotation. We'll talk a little bit about what students do during flex, but just for these purposes, it's a full grade level period. So every student at that grade level is in flex at the same time. We also adopted a new dismissal pattern, which might seem kind of silly for us to mention to you here, but if you've ever been at Gillette, you know that our time is really a precious resource. We have very little time before students come into the building and very little time after they leave. Our dismissal process previously was allowing teachers roughly 5 minutes after students were out of the building, just to even set up their classroom for the day or meet with somebody quickly. So we really put all hands on deck, and we have students dismissing out of every door in our building right now, and we're getting them out in one lineup, which does just afford teachers a little bit more time, and also allows them to focus on groups of students in one place rather than trying to watch the hallway in their classroom. As we move into our goals, we want to talk first about our math goal and our math data. And this goal really supports the strategic plan goal around improving our graduation rate, since there's not a specific math goal in the strategic plan. In the past, we've spent the last couple of years really looking at our Ames Web data from fall to spring. Our goal for the last 2 years that I've been in the building has been to increase our students in the green by 8% and decrease our students in the red by 2%. And what we've been finding is that we're meeting that. And so we're ready to increase our goal a bit. So we really talked about how do we make sure that we're actually making growth with our students year to year as they transition throughout Gillette Road Middle School. So we really decided to look this year at setting goals based on cohort for our older students. So for 4th grade and 5th grade, because they are new to us, we kept more of our traditional goal. We set the target a little bit higher. We want to increase our students in the green by 10% and decrease in the red by 4% over the course of the school year. So you can see our state test or our Ames Web data, up here. So like our students in 4th grade were 56% of them were at tier 1, and our 5th grade 59%. And so our goal by the end of the year is to increase those to 66% and 69% respectively. In 6th and 7th grade, since we've had our hands on those students for a little bit longer, we're looking at how they performed in the spring of the previous year and setting a goal for the end of the year that they're in now, so that we're making sure that we're moving those specific students and increasing their proficiency as they move up and head towards the junior high school. Additionally, we set our state test scores goals the same way. So we are looking at our cohorts. Our 4th graders, when they were at Lakeshore, 48% of them were levels 3 and 4. We're hoping to increase that by the end of the year. We took for 5th grade, you see some asterisks there. We didn't really know how to represent their scores in 4th grade, so we averaged the proficiency rate at Cicero L, Lakeshore Road Elementary, Bear Road, and Smith Road, and came up with roughly 52% proficient. So our target for them is 59% at the end of the year. And hopefully our 7th graders will leave us with 75% levels 3 and 4 when they go up to the junior high. So we have some strategies to help us with that. Flex time is one of those places where we're doing a lot of extension as well as intervention. Similar to Roxborough Road Middle School, we're excited to have MathCon and Math League again for all of our students, grades 4 through 7. Our teachers are participating in PD through the University of Rochester. With our collaborative teams now happening during the day at 5th and 6th grade, we've been able to make sure that there's special education and AIS teachers on each collaborative team, which is helpful on the intervention side of it. We're talking about problem-solving opportunities in other content areas as well as our students become complex thinkers and have an ability to solve those problems.
Shifting gears over to ELA, we have followed a similar format to what you saw in math, where we took our incoming, the 4th grade students, and we took their data from Lakeshore to stretch out from what we received as 30% proficiency at ELA and New York State test scores to increase at 35%. For our fifth grade group, we again averaged in the elementary school scores that we receive all of our students from, which was roughly 29.5%, with a goal to increase that at 35%. And when we look at our Ames web testing, again, we're looking at by cohort. So for our students, as they move up from fifth grade to sixth grade, we want to compare that same cohort data. And same thing from sixth grade to seventh grade, comparing the cohort data. When you look at our spring goals for our current seventh graders, for example, we have 75% in the green we're looking at an ambitious increase of 5% to the green to make 79%. And then the same with ELA, an increase of 5%. When we look at our younger grade cohorts, we're looking at, again, a more ambitious target than our previous years with 8%. We're looking at growing the green by 10% and decreasing students in the red by 4% and an increase of 5% at the ELA state proficiency test scores. We're hoping that our seventh graders leave us with an increase to 53% in proficiency on their New York State testing scores. Oh, great. Some of our strategies to increase this is using that flex time that we've recently built into our new schedule. This flexible time allows for students to participate in book clubs or opportunities to choose what they're reading, given that we have a scripted ELA program that allows students to access texts at their ability level and interest level outside of the ELA program to enrich their reading. We also have tier 2 supports built in, and we're working to have targeted skill lessons. Our AAS and special ed teachers are involved now in our collaborative teams that are able to happen. Those meetings are able to happen now during our school day. We are utilizing our data to help drive instruction during our CTMs. Intervention programs are being used for identified students. Our grouping for AIS is flexible, and we're hoping the same for any flex time small groups that are happening, that they'll be flexible based on student need and opportunity. And we're also utilizing some coaching for our teachers to improve practice.
Good evening. I'm going to be talking about something that most schools are having a problem with right now is chronic absenteeism. Currently, last year, we had the same goal last year to get down to 10%. We didn't quite get there. We got to 15.7. So we put in some new strategies this year to try to get us back to kind of the pre-COVID times of 10% or below with our chronic absenteeism at Gillette. Right now, we're actually doing a pretty good job of it as of today, even though we're only a few weeks in or one market period in. Currently, all of our four grade levels are all at 12% or less. So it's coming down. We got a lot that will be coming off in the next couple of days once we bump up to a 5-day absentee counting as 10%. So that's going to drop down to about 9% for 3 out of the 4. And just over 10 for the fifth grade is the highest one right now. And hoping that'll be down about 10% by the end of this week, technically. So we've implemented a lot of new things this year. The one thing we've done that we haven't done in the past few years is we started an attendance committee. We meet once a month, and it's done by all the administrators, some of the guidance staff, teachers, TAs. We got a good group that are working to help us throughout the school to bring the attendance down. We've started some new family outreach. As I said, the whole group is involved. We had a grade level meeting the other day, and we gave all the teachers a list of students who were chronically absent. The other day happened to be 4 students with 4 absences or more. So the list was pretty long, but it's like I said, it's coming down pretty quick. And they're helping us by reaching out to the parents, calling the parents if the students are out for a couple of days, asking how the student's doing, is there something they need, and not really talking about why they're out, but what we can do to help them and get them back in school because we want them in there to learn and be with their friends. Our guidance office also helps us with this. We meet weekly for our STAR meetings where we discuss students. One of the big topics we talk about is our absenteeism, specifically the chronically absentee students. in which we also, in those meetings, we meet with our Promise Zone and our access people from outside the district that help us if we have to go out into the houses or contact the parents outside of the school. And for parent education, we're using Parent Square. I believe we're still going to be using I believe the quarterly kind of I know they say kind of the national grid thing, but comparing absentees with the rest of the school so that we can get these students back in the school and let the parents know how important it is to have the students in the building as much as possible.
So our next goal is to support the district focus around becoming a professional learning community. We use the 4 critical questions of PLC to really drive those meetings. We use a consistent agenda format that this 4-question cycle is posted on. We asked all of our collaborative teams that are now able to meet during the school day, as we have that flex time is built into the day where teachers are able to collaborate at grade level in the core content areas of math and ELA for 5th and 6th. And then for 7th grade, they meet with every subject area. We chose to pare down our 5th and 6th to just ELA and math to try to do it very well and then expand out to all the core subject areas once we've got a format that's in place that works. With that additional flex time, teachers are able to meet with AIS and special education to focus on creating and reviewing the data from common formative assessments that allow us to check in on how students are performing and make decisions about how we're going to respond when they do not learn or when they have learned and can use enrichment opportunities. So our goal at Gillette Road is that each collaborative team sets their own goal for their team, depending on where they're at in that 4-question continuum, to determine how they're going to monitor their progress towards that goal. So with our CTMs now happening during the day, we also have time to work with students during the day with flex time, which we didn't have before. So now not only during study hall, but flex, and many teachers even pull during lunchtime to support students. We've got more times in our day where kids can connect with teachers to get the support that they need. Our guiding coalition and our BPT has worked really hard to create some resources for flex and materials and opportunities. AIS and special education are supporting us with this as well. Some of our AIS teachers are even implementing Morphine Magic and other programs to help support students with reading proficiency goals. So as we move forward with these on the next 2 slides, you'll see some of the collaborative team goals that our teams have put together. As you read through these, you'll notice that a lot of them revolve around the creation of common formative assessments that really focus on the essential standards that tie into the standards-based grading that we're moving towards at grades 5, 6, and 7. With that in mind, they're taking a really good look at assessments that they already have, making sure that they address the essential standards and that they have some common assessments that they can really use the data from to drive instruction. These are a few more of our goals. And you can see on this slide that they're looking for ways during flex time or study hall to provide some intervention for students. Some of the things that they're using are our exit tickets or other small, quick checks for understanding to really monitor students before they get to a benchmark or a summative assessment so that we can identify those students that might need extra support.
Our 5th focus to support the district's goal regarding social emotional competencies. In the middle school setting, social awareness and relationship skills are constantly being worked on at this stage of a student's development. Our goal is to increase these competencies by providing students with opportunities to practice these skills through building-wide strategies such as community connection days, flex period, F-day lessons and activities, explore service projects, unified phys ed, social skills groups, and EL habits of character. This year, we decided to shift from the P2 Positivity Project and have decided to utilize the habits of character associated with our ELA program, EL Education, to root our work around positive character traits. The students are getting exposed to this language academically in the ELA curriculum, and now they will be putting these skills into practice with our building-wide activities. The aspects of characters are to contribute to a safe community, to work to become effective learners, to work to become ethical people, and to contribute to a better world. We have also created student-friendly language to ensure that students truly understand what we are working towards. For example, when working towards the safe community aspect, we are implementing student-friendly language such as, I can show respect. This means I will listen to any adult that works at Gillette Road Middle School, etc. We teach these skills through the use of F-Day lessons in our flex period and half-day lessons, and do quarterly student spotlight awards to recognize students who embody that habit of character.
So just looking at some of the celebrations we've had this year at Gillette Road, some of the pictures here were from a few weeks ago. We had a school-wide pep rally, where during the half day, all four, grade levels went out back onto our basketball court, and we had a multiple, of different games, performed great by grade level, with, each of the winners receiving prizes, they got to pick out of a couple different prizes. We've done Chalk the Walk already this year, for one of our SEL days. Each, talking about the, going back to the pep rally, each of the, classes, as you can see, the young man up in the top corner, made a class flag, which we then collected, and we're actually in the process. I believe they started hanging them throughout the school today, just to show, what each class thought what their class represented. And then some of our STEM projects below, the trajectory, lessons that they went to. One of the things that's not on here that actually I was just reminded of is this is the first year that we've had a unified gym class in the school, which one of our PE teachers, Mr. Smith, kind of pushed for. And so now we got a unified PE class every day there that is actually, so far seems very successful, and the kids are loving it, being able to kind of be with kids that they typically wouldn't be with in gym class, and hopefully we will be expanding it as we go on.
Our BPT members are listed here. I should note that our BPT chair, who really wanted to be here, but her son Jake is a senior, and ESM went to the semifinals in soccer, and so the game happened to be tonight. So she was unable to be here, but we are really excited for her and her son in his senior year, and that's why Samantha agreed to step in to help us out tonight. We welcome any questions that you have.
I'll start. I had 6 of the teachers on the, including Mrs. Aldridge.
Oh.
So, that's awesome. Makes me very happy that we're retaining people still. I had a question about the 4th and 5th graders. So when I was way back when, going from 4th to 5th, we had like a peer,
Mhm.
letters that helped us transition to 5th grade. I think we might have even did a field trip
Yep.
to the school. With 4th grade being now there, are we utilizing that and
Yeah,
still
so we
continuing that?
we still participate in the peer-to-peer program that you're describing. But we've been already talking to the teachers that are housed in our building about how we can make it special for them, since they are getting used to our building already, but there's some changes that will come when they move upstairs to the 5th grade hall. One of the things that we did when we welcomed our 4th graders, we did provide them lockers, but we took all of the combination locks off. So we've been talking about putting them back on around April and giving them like a head start to practice. You know, they're definitely getting used to the middle school already. So we've just kind of been telling them they get a bit of a head start.
And how about the hallways during times where students need to pass? How have the hallways been?
Well, we have 1,100 students, so they are pretty full. It's a busy place. Our students are practicing, walking in the hallway safely. Our fourth, fifth, and sixth graders do walk with a teacher still. They don't necessarily walk in a line, but their teacher is nearby, helping to supervise. And our seventh graders, obviously navigate the hallways by themselves. We did ask our students on F Day this week to create signs and different ways to teach the rest of the school about how to be safe. And so seventh grade was in charge of the hallways. So they made some really great posters to hang around about how to contribute to a safe community, specifically in the hallways. It's busy, but students, they navigate it, they figure it out. And our staff is really good about being present in the hallway, and that certainly helps to deter any really unsafe behaviors.
And then my last question would be, thank you for that, by the way, appreciate the answer. And how, with the new staff members coming in, how have you worked to integrate them into like kind of the Gillette Road family? Have you done any like special functions or anything?
Yeah, so we just are really aware and conscious about making sure that fourth grade is always included. We invited them to participate in our BPT. They're in all of our staff, resources and drives and communications and part of our Sunshine Committee. And then with our student functions, our pep rally, we made sure that each grade level had a different color, and so fourth grade was included. They all wore white. The teachers were a part of it. We just make sure that everything we plan is. Mhm.
So that for our very first,
Oh, we're still doing tug of war, yeah.
I have a quick question. Oh, sorry, go
Sure.
ahead. Okay. Oh, all right. For your flex time,
Yeah.
how long is it and how long are each of your classes?
So each class is 35 minutes. So that means a blocked class, our core area classes are 73 because they don't pass in between. So we did shave about 5 minutes off of a period and then 10 minutes off of a block. So flex is the same length as any other period. It's just 10 35-minute periods. First period's a little bit longer to incorporate our morning announcements, but essentially 35 minutes for instruction.
Thank you.
I just was curious, what the number of students in band and orchestra is now versus in previous years. And you may not have this answer. I'm not expecting that you do. Off the
Thanks,
top of
Josh.
your head.
No, so to be honest, it was not as high as we expected it to be. So we really thought that right away, doing it during the day would help us to, similar to what Roxborough described, kind of lessen the numbers in Flex so that we would be able to work with some smaller groups, especially on the days that our teachers are meeting, which is A Day and C Day. But we didn't have that many students. We have, I would say roughly around 60 per group for fifth grade band and fifth grade orchestra, sixth grade band, sixth grade orchestra, which are the new ones during the day. And then chorus is a little bit smaller. But we're hopeful that as they continue, throughout the years, that those programs will grow because they'll be used to them being during the day.
No, that's great. Thank you. And I hate to one up you, Xavier, but I had 7 people that were up there as teachers.
Anyone else?
A couple things, and goes to Roxborough too. As everybody knows, the board supported Dan Bowles in getting Legos. So it's through BOCES, and I'm glad that North Syracuse finally joined. Here's something to both of you to think about. There is a special book program that is in the spring. I know the junior high has been participating in it, where students read books all the way down to kindergarten. They read books, and then they're challenged by other school districts. I'd like both, middle schools to look into it. Somebody at BOCES is in charge of it. It's in the spring. It is so much fun. And I think there's a lot of good things for ELA. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Do I have time? Just clarification, because I'm trying to picture stuff that I heard. You threw a lot at me here.
We've had a lot of change.
Maybe they all processed it better than I did, but when you talked about this flex time, but then you mentioned, once every 6 days, you have a teacher meeting?
Yeah, so we organized, so we added a flex period into each, well, grades 5 through 7. So 5th grade is in the morning and 6th and 7th grade is last period of the day. In order to incorporate band, orchestra, and chorus into the day, we had to add some letter days to our rotation. So band meets on A and C day, orchestra meets on B and D day, chorus meets on E day, and nothing meets on F day. And our purpose, you may have heard Samantha mention, our F day activities or lessons. We have a building-wide community SEL-focused lesson that occurs on F days in your flex group, and that's really your homeroom and your community. Our collaborative teams for 5th and 6th grade meet on A and C days. So ELA meets on A day. During flex, their flex students are either covered by somebody else on a duty or dispersed to another teacher on the team. And then on C day, the math teachers meet. In 7th grade, we're fortunate to be able to support a collaborative team for math, ELA, science, social studies, and world language during the day. So they meet on a rotation, but with a little bit extra.
So you did answer one of my follow-ups that was in my head. So, and I'm not picking on you, Sean. I just, listen to you. That's my problem. You mentioned call it a attendance committee meeting. Where does that fit into this? One of those?
So
pages?
that's 7:40 to 8 a.m.
Okay.
before students arrive.
And I saw an SEL committee,
Mhm.
same thing?
Same,
That would fit
yep.
in there? One more question.
Sure.
ETM, is that just PLC?
So
Same.
similar to what Roxborough shared, the PLC, our professional learning community is Gillette Road Middle School and really North Syracuse School District. And then each team, collaborative team has a meeting. That's where the M comes in our building.
Decided to make your own labels to fit your model, right? Okay. So I just want to make sure I was understanding it. It's the same.
That is the
critical
language, yep,
questions
that
were the
they're,
same.
yep, the 4 critical questions come from
Okay.
the PLC model.
Perfect. Thank
Yes. You're welcome.
Anyone else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to comments from the audience this evening. We have one, Karen Siemens. Come on up. Just as a reminder, 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Karen Siemens, and I'm a lifelong resident of the district, a 1992 graduate, and I'm in my 28th year as a music teacher here. During this time, I'm proud to have been a member of, instructor for, and most recently, the director of the CNS North Stars Marching Band. Upon receiving the job of director in 2013, my first order of business was to instill a level of responsibility and accountability in team members that I felt was lacking. I instituted a strict attendance policy with consequences for missing practices and performances. I also held students to high standards with regard to behavior, sportsmanship, and academics. I instituted and enforced consequences for infractions. Under these policies, attendance improved, students took pride in their commitment, and the band began to improve competitively. If problems arose, they were handled per the district protocol of directing them to me as the coach before involving anyone outside the program, such as administration. 11 years later, the band has 2 large school, 2 class New York State championships, 2 national class New York State championships, 1 U.S. band national championship, a sweep of every award in the Tax Slayer Bowl competition in Florida, and an appearance in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. All of these achievements have been touted by the district in social media and print. In teaching students in grades kindergarten through 12, I have always taught by the edict that students live up to the level of their expectations. I've set high standards for my students and tried to give them the tools needed to meet those standards. I've counseled them through mistakes and cheered them through their successes. I believe that providing structure and discipline comes from a place of love and care. I'm here because I'm frustrated with what I see as a trend in our district to expect less of our students, and as a result, student behavior and achievement suffering. I've tried to at least keep my little corner of the world on par with the standards I've set for my students, but this season, I've been denied the ability to even do that. I feel that my authority as a coach is being undermined by current practices, and I'm being forced to compromise my ethics and all I've tried to instill in my students. This is true in my day job as a teacher as well. As a professional with a master's degree in CAS, I've never felt more micromanaged in my entire career. Shared decision-making is severely lacking, and policies and procedures seem to be directed more toward teacher discipline than student discipline. In fact, I was basically told that we've eased our consequences for things like vaping because it's become so prevalent. That seems counterintuitive. We should be more concerned with producing responsible, contributing members of society and less concerned with skewing discipline data to give a false picture of what's actually happening in our schools. I feel that my education, years of experience, and record of success with every group of which I've been a part means nothing. Decisions are being made by people who have never stepped foot on my field or in my classroom that are doing a disservice to my kids and sending the wrong message. My passion for teaching is being replaced by stress, anger, and disappointment. I've already transferred out of a position that I know I am the most qualified to hold as a result of this stress. My first priority as a coach has always been to instill life skills in my students that will serve them far beyond high school. I feel that co-curricular programs offer a unique opportunity to do this, as membership has always been a privilege that was earned, not a right. I now have to make a decision about my future in coaching. A big part of that decision will be whether or not I will be allowed to hold my students to the standards that made them champions and brought so much pride to our community. Standards that will make them good friends, good family members, good employees, and good citizens. Respect, responsibility, accountability, and pride in one's work. Abraham Lincoln once said, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." I fear that our axes in the North Syracuse School District are getting very dull. Thank you.
You. Okay, Board of Education Committee reports. Mark?
Thanks, Mike. Our next policy committee meeting will be a week from Tuesday here at the district office.
Our next legislative committee will be the day after tomorrow. It will be Wednesday, November 6th. I want to thank Matt for leading the last meeting, looking at what people said, including our interim superintendent. We will have talk about Micron, and will have our director of technology speak along with a teacher and some students about where we are going with Micron. But also, we have our regent, Patrick Mannion, visiting to talk to us. So it should be a really awesome meeting. And then, of course, I would say to everybody, if you haven't voted, I'd ask you to go and vote tomorrow between the time 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Thank you.
Yes, good evening, everyone. So we're wrapping up fall seasons for co-curricular sports and also for the marching band. Actually, the New York State Marching Band Championships were held just past weekend or 2 weekends ago, and our marching band placed 6th in that competition overall in the national class. And then in athletics, wrapping up the fall season, our field hockey team lost a heartbreaker, 1-0 in the sectional finals or sectional runner-ups, which was still tremendous. Boys volleyball is actually playing right now as we speak against Baldwinsville in the sectional quarterfinals. Girls volleyball plays at Liverpool in the semifinals Wednesday. Tuesday will be the diving state qualifiers for state championship qualifiers, and congratulations to Sophia Segru, who placed 3rd in sectionals last Friday. So one of our old board members' children. And then Wednesday is the swimming sectionals at Nottingham High School. Friday, football travels to Liverpool. sectional semifinals. And then Saturday are the cross-country sectionals at Mount Markham. So busy times right now, but then also special recognition, congratulations to the girls soccer team who won the Class AA or AAA championship actually on Saturday. And they're advancing to regionals. They'll play at 2 p.m. at Nottingham versus the winner of Section 2. So that's come up and coming. So congratulations to the girls soccer team for their Section 3 championship. A couple other things just to make note of. We're still moving forward, working on a weapons detection system. We met with Al Sturpey, talking to him about possible grant opportunities. And tomorrow we have a meeting with its CEIE, who handles open gate systems. And we're going to talk to them about possibly piloting the system if they would allow us to. So we're moving forward there. One of our teachers, middle school teacher, Tara Ozier, was selected into the New York State's STEM Master Teacher Program, which is outstanding. She's a 5th grade teacher, and we think she's one of the first middle school teachers to actually receive that honor. So congratulations to Tara. And then we do have a cell phone policy committee that we have set up, and we're moving forward with that discussion. And we're going to actually use Thought Exchange to send out surveys into the community, to staff, to students, to get opinions. So that will be moving forward. And then just some things to note. Obviously, tomorrow there's a big election happening, and it's voting day, and there's actually a number of elections. So it's a superintendent's conference day, and there's no school for students, and that's district-wide. And then upcoming Monday is Veterans Day, and, think about honoring our veterans who have served for our country. We thank them for all that they have done and for their sacrifices. And then our next Board of Education meeting is on Monday, November 18th. That's all I have.
Great, thank you. Board of Education comments, I'll just mention that last week we had a groundbreaking for the pool. So thank you to all the board members that were able to show up for that. And we had Assemblyman Sturpey there who's been instrumental in getting us some additional funding for that. So special thanks to any other board comments?
To a special guest in the audience, we need to say that Cato Meridian will be in the semifinals in football. So want to make sure.
I'm sorry. I thought you had I had a few
Oh.
board comments, just,
Please.
sorry. Well, I was at, I just wanted to quickly report that I was at NSBA a couple of weeks ago. That's why I wasn't here. So, just in case you wondered, not that anybody missed me all that much, but just wanted to do something a little differently, because sometimes I have Jill print out papers and hand them out, because I know when I send you an email, you don't open the attachment, likely you just right-click delete. So I thought I'd do a hybrid of that by not printing out the paper, but telling you I'm going to email you something, because I put a live link in there, and I'm not good enough to make that live link live when it's on a piece of paper. So that was a joke. Going quick, so when you get that in the next couple of days, take a look at it, some things of interest. I saw an AI presentation, but before that, by the time I get to report it to you, it's already obsolete, so I'm not gonna talk much about that. But that's getting fascinating and scary at the same time, and I'm not sure which one is superseding the other. Just there's some information on the foundation aid study. My only takeaway from that is we're gonna get a report December 1st. It's going to give us probably a menu of recommendations that then we'll just go to the governor and the legislature. And that makes me fear that we'll be back in the cycle that we're always in, where it becomes a political battle and who has the muscle. For fun, there's some notes on the foundation aid formula. If you want to be a math geek and go in there and figure that out, I wrote it up. One thing of interest, though, that I wrote a little paragraph on, and this is where the link is, and I'm not trying to turn the world upside down, but it's something that really piqued my curiosity, and I did a little digging into it because it's research-based, is this movement of start school later. And some of you I know are familiar with it. It's not a brand new thing. It's been around a while, but it's making a move in some areas across the state. I think you mentioned locally, is ESM already doing that? It's not a major flip, but it's just not starting secondary school any earlier than 8:30. I know this will be too late for you, right? You're saying, yeah. And moving the earlier start up to elementary. So they had a lot of great data on that, how it fits into the mental health of students, depression, anxiety, all these things were alleviated somewhat or mitigated, and it would work well with our SEL program. But again, it requires a lot of moving parts to it. A lot of moving parts. So it would require quite a bit of study and a look and to see where that goes. But it's something worth reading. So I'll send you that in a couple of days, and hopefully now you open it because you're all very curious. Thank you.
Any other board comments?
Okay, hello. So as a president of Human Rights at CNS High School, I wanted to present everyone with our first fundraiser of the year. So I gave everyone a little handout and this is going to be kind of advertised district wide, but I wanted to, of course, first amplify it, at my school. So some context is our club, we normally work with Interfaith Works, which is a nonprofit in downtown Syracuse. And during the winter, especially, we have many refugees and new Americans that come to Central New York, and they really lack the resources to kind of like excel and just navigate society as we do, especially when it comes to education. So we decided to do a school supply drive. And yeah, so if you want to participate in this, I'm going to definitely email this out to everyone to kind of, get the word out. And you can email me if you're interested in donating, and I'll get all the resources to my club advisor. And the next thing I want to present is principal's cabinet. Is next Friday is Paige's Pajama-rama, and this is district-wide where students come to school in their pajamas and they contribute and donate to Paige's Butterfly Run, which supports children with pediatric cancer at the Galasanos Hospital, which is always great to see. And lastly, I want to congratulate the 4 junior high students who performed at the all-state music festivals. And this is Joseph Canella, Mark Morris, Myra Cook, and Caitlin Chrisley. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving into routine action items. Do I have a motion to take item A, the approval of our last board meeting minutes? Xavier and Amanda, all those in favor? MS. I'd like to place B, C, and D together as a group, the consideration of the classification of placement of students. Do I have a motion? Beth and Paul. Questions? All those in favor? Acknowledgement of the business office reports for June, July, and August. Don, there's nothing in here that's of note, just routine. Do I have a motion to accept those? Beth and Mark, any questions? Favor? Unanimous? And declaration of marketable and non-marketable surplus. It looked like we had some old furniture in there and some old woodworking equipment. Question? Do I have a motion? Josh and Paul?
So looking at Gillette, there's a lot of desks and chairs. What makes those non-marketable? Yeah. Okay. That's the same with the tables too, I'm assuming, right? Okay.
All those in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Discussion action items. Item A, resolution approving the employment agreement and authorizing the execution of employment agreement. This is, I'm excited to say, between the Board of Education and Dr. Terry Ward to be our next superintendent of schools to start on January 6th. of 2025. So do I have a motion for that? Mr. Crabtree, second from Dr. Kramer. Any questions?
That Dr. Matthew Cook from OCM BOCES was our consultant, and I just think he did a really, really good job. And in our Friday letter, I want the board to know that he said that working with us was awesome. He really enjoyed working with us and thought that we were top quality. So that goes to my fellow board members.
One quick thing, whenever anybody asked me how the search was going, I always said, don't worry about it, we're gonna hire a superstar. It's the only thing I ever gave them, and I believe we did. And I just want to say congratulations to Terry. I couldn't be any happier with the decision we made.
All those in favor? Yes, congratulations, Dr. Ward. Next, we have a resolution to approve Mike Sheeto for an extra week. So, do I have a motion for that resolution? Xavier and Josh, any questions? All those in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you. Resolution to create a 1.0 FTE special education teacher at Gillette Road. Do I have a motion? Amanda and Josh, any questions? All those in favor? That is. Resolution to create a 1.0 FTE teaching assistant at Cicero Elementary School. Do I have a motion for that?
I got a comment about that, just on reading the reason behind there. I just look at it, it's for a student with with special needs, and I just wonder, the student, I'm not too sure if I'm going to be able to articulate this correctly. And I'm just want to make sure that I'm not giving too much identifying information here. So I'm looking at what it said, and it was for a kindergarten student. Now, a lot of times we know these students before they come to us because many of them are in preschool programs. And the designation that was shared with the student, I just wonder why in our lower grades where we're supposed to give them so much support, what happened on why that wasn't there from the get-go. And everything, it just kind of stood out to me when I was, reading through all of the files that we read before the board. And I just want to, make sure that as we're starting our students off in kindergarten here, is a huge step from preschool to kindergarten, especially with students with special needs. And I think that we need to really look into, you front load them so you don't need as much later. And I just wanted to make that comment. Thank you.
I have a motion for this. Paul? All those in favor? Next is to approve an MOA between the North Syracuse Central School District and North Syracuse Education Association dated November 4th, amended from the approved MOA from October 18th. Do I have a motion? Dr. Kramer and Mandy, any questions? I have a couple of contracts to approve this evening. Approve the contract between the North Syracuse Central School District and Food Service Employees Division Local 200, United Service Employees International Union Charter for a period of July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2028. Do I have a motion? Josh and Mark, any questions? All those in favor? And approve the contract between the North Syracuse Central School District and the North Syracuse Association of Middle Managers. Do I have a motion to place that before us? Josh? Questions? consideration of a contract award bid. Xavier. Beth, any questions? All those in favor? And I believe this is going to be a roll call resolution to provide for senior citizen tax exemption pursuant to real estate property tax law, section 467. Do I have a motion to place that before us? Mark, second from Mr. Crabtree.
I want to thank the administration. I want to thank my fellow board members for this. Our senior citizens in this community have been very, very supportive of this school district. In the 70s and 80s, it wasn't very good. And I want to thank the speaker that came about a month ago. She opened the eyes of the administration and also us. So I'm so happy that we're going to vote on this to help seniors with their taxes. Thank you.
Bill. Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Great, thank you. Acknowledgement of gifts. Liverpool is the place. Concert Committee has donated various instruments to the school district valued at $3,068. Do I have a motion to accept with gratitude those gifts? Josh and Paul, any question? All those in favor? Just to acknowledge a couple of retirements before personnel this evening. Denise DeSantis, a cook manager, is retiring with 24.7 years of service. And Jeffrey Yates, a math teacher at the junior high school, is retiring with 29 years of service. So we wish them both a long, happy, and healthy retirement and thank them for their service. We need an executive session before personnel. Do I have a motion to take personnel A as submitted? Paul and Xavier, any questions? All those in favor? And do I have a motion to take support staff B as submitted? Mark and Beth, any questions? All those in favor? Thank you. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to move into executive session for the purpose of reviewing one negotiation matter with no action to follow and two personnel matters with no action to follow. Do I have a second? Andy, any questions? All those in favor? That's unanimous. And do I have a motion to adjourn? Xavier and Josh, all those in favor? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.